Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. I'm obviously gonna wait just like a minute here because it's been a minute. Okay, need to get a couple people in here. We need to get things going. Obviously, I see the people already in the chat. What's up, everybody? But ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. I'm already stuttering here because I haven't streamed in a while. I've lost all my practice. I'm not good anymore. I'm washed up. I'm old now. We have to talk about Superman, Fantastic Four, weapons, Naked Gun. What else? What else am I missing? Jurassic World, if you guys even want to, if anyone even cares to. War of the Worlds. We need to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. I keep saying Brave New World because they sound way too alike. There's so much to talk about. I just took a look at my YouTube channel a second before starting this, and it was June 24th the last time that I was on a live here. God, I'm bugging out right now, man. I'm bugging out right now. I can't even talk. But guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Obviously, we just got to give it like 2 minutes. Just got to give it like 2 minutes. But listen, shout out to everybody that's already here. Shout out to everybody that's here. And also, if you're watching this on like the replay on my channel once it's over, thank you guys so much. And hopefully this will be entertaining. But listen, just got to wait a minute here. Shout out to my man, John. Pizza here, pizza. We got everybody here, okay? But just gotta wait a couple minutes. We gotta wait a couple minutes just to warm things up. But listen, this is what I want from you guys. Start firing off your comments, your questions, any thought that's in your head about movies, about whatever. Get it in there. Shout out to my man Neil as well. Let's just get this going here, okay? So start lining them up because I'm gonna go through them. And as you guys know, for those of you that have been on live stream before, I tend to be behind. I tend to get behind very easily, but I still need a bunch of questions stocked up. So if you have anything in your head about movies, man, I need that question from you. But listen, I want to start off by saying this. This is a topic that I kind of want to start off with here. It's just the fact that I honestly cannot believe how great the past month has been for movies, but not necessarily what I expected. And also shout out to Alex right here. Not exactly what I expected, okay? And again, let's start seeing some questions. Let's start seeing some comments. Let's start seeing some thoughts. But the past month has just been so incredible, like genuinely, but in ways I didn't even expect. Let me just start off by saying that. Jurassic World I look at, sure, it's a little over a month ago, but you get the idea of it. You get what I'm saying here. Jurassic World was not that good. It did disappoint me. But then we got Superman, Fantastic Four, which, again, those were the big movies of the month, okay? Everyone was expecting those to at least be pretty good or moderately entertaining, fun summer blockbuster. They're superhero films. They always do well. But then we get Weapons right after that, which did look very good, and I thought it was awesome. And then snuck between Fantastic Four and Weapons, we got Naked Gun and Together. Two movies that I just thought were amazing. Like, genuinely just both blew me away. I thought they were great. And it's one of these things where, again, July and early August was so incredible in ways I didn't even expect it to be incredible. Because I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, we're getting 3 awesome movies: Jurassic World, Superman, Fantastic Four. But honestly, some of the hidden gems are the ones that actually blew me away more than some of the other movies, like Fantastic Four, honestly. But we'll talk about Fantastic Four in a little bit. Because just to be clear, I've seen Superman 3 times. I saw it for a 3rd time today with my girlfriend, actually, because she finally got to see it with me. Saw it 3 times. She enjoyed it. I love that movie. I've seen Fantastic Four 2 times. So just so that you guys know, when we get into maybe some comparisons or anything like that, just want to lay the groundwork. So I've seen these movies, okay? 3 versus 2. At that point, as long as I've seen them more than once, I feel comfortable talking about them. And then the rest of those movies that I just mentioned, I've only seen 1 time. But again, it's really just been an awesome month or 5 or 6 weeks of movies. What's today's date? Yeah, just 6 weeks of movies, man. Just truly awesome. And then also in that 6 weeks, because if we're talking about 6 weeks, right at the beginning of those 6 weeks, we got F1. So if you really want to kind of squeeze it into that 6 and change week window, Jesus Christ, it's been an unbelievable month and a half. And I feel like the rest of the year before that has just been fine at best. And that's honestly being nice. But listen, guys, I need to see more questions in here because I'm going to be sitting here talking to myself, and we got to get things going. Or maybe I'll throw out my own ideas in here. But I've got to say, man, it's just been an exciting summer. It's been an eventful summer just in my own personal life. So I feel like YouTube honestly hasn't really been like at the forefront, but I've been enjoying the movies. I've been really having just like a great time, just enjoying film, watching a bunch of movies I haven't gotten to check out. Like I just watched Spider-Man 1 and 2, the Toby films, and I've got to say, man, they're just so incredible. Watching some new movies, whether they're just older things I've never seen before, or just other stuff, but either way, it's just been a good old time. But let's start answering some questions. And again, guys, I need more comments from you guys. I need as many questions as you guys could possibly offer because it would mean the world to me. Every single one counts. Well, listen, let's start off with my man Speedrunner. Do you think Peacemaker season 1 will be better than the first? First of all, right off the bat, I loved Peacemaker season 1. I'm a big James Gunn fan. I I think that in a way, I feel like I still haven't really seen that much from Peacemaker season 2, and I'm fine with that because it's one of these things where if I like a show, I don't really need to be sold on like the second season. I think it's different with movies. Let's say there's like a movie sequel like the Batman Part 2, right? Or I don't know, even Spider-Man Brand New Day. Those have different vibes where I feel like the seasons of shows tend to be a bit more consistent. So I don't feel like I really need to go out and see stuff from Peacemaker season 2. I'd rather go out and be a little bit more blind. But does it have potential to be better than the first? Yes, absolutely. I think it could be worse than the first as well because the first was very good, but I think that has a lower chance of happening. I think that the most likely scenario I should say is that it's going to be equal or even better than the first. It's going to be one of those two. I feel like the first I don't want to say it played it safe because it did really try to do some wacky things and like it was funny, it was gory, it was wild. But I think that now we're in the DCU. I think that it's one of these things where we're really going to start seeing the cogs turning, and it's going to be thrilling just to see where James Gunn like takes this universe because apparently there's going to be like some teases in Peacemaker season 2 for the future, which isn't the whole point. I want to see good storytelling at the end of the day, but that is pretty exciting. War of the Worlds over everything, honestly. I mean, I did check it out. I ended up watching it. I gave it 1 star. I don't want to say as a joke because honestly, like I like to give like serious ratings on Letterboxd, just how I am. But it was one of these things where it was so horrible that I did think it was funny enough to warrant 1 star. Like I think that it deserves that extra half star over half a star. But then I was thinking about it, and once like the funny wore off, get it, wore off because War of the Worlds. Once the funny wore off, I was like, this is really bad and embarrassing. And I think the one thing that actually bothered me the more that I thought about it after actually watching it was that I was like, wow, this is just a commercial for Amazon. And I don't want to waste my time watching commercials, which like kind of put it over the edge for me to like to be like, yeah, this is getting half a star because I don't think it's something that like I don't know, man. It's literally just a product at that point. It's barely even a movie. It reminds me of Happy Gilmore too. Guys, really quick though, for those of you that are in here, I'm gonna say one thing, okay? Just to kind of really get some of you stirred up that aren't dropping questions or comments. The more that I think about Fantastic Four, the less I like it. I'm just gonna say that really quick. The more I think about Fantastic Four, the less I like it. And honestly, I hope that riles some of you up and that gets you guys asking me why, or maybe that just wants you to argue with me, and we can go back and forth. But I think that the more I think about this film, the more I dislike it. And we could get into why. And again, I like this movie. I actually am positive on the film, but I'm afraid that next time I rewatch it, I'm actually going to lower my rating. I currently have it at 3.5. It was a 3.5 on first watch, 3.5 on second watch. And I have a strong feeling that on third watch, I'm going to give it a 3. I have a strong feeling. And if you guys want to know why, you're going to have to comment. You're going to have to comment. Let's go back up. Shout out to my man Neil with a really great question here. I think I talked about this already, but I think Spielberg is the most overrated director. Instantly, I have to disagree with you. I'm sorry. This isn't even like an I can hear you out type of thing, but I'll read it. Obviously, I want to hear your thought process. He doesn't write his scripts. Okay. Also, when everyone says he does, I understand that. He has almost no style, and they're not unique except Schindler's List. I think Spielberg's greatest strength is what you said right here. I think you actually just proved yourself wrong. Spielberg has no style. That's why Spielberg is so incredible. Martin Scorsese and Nolan have a style. When I'm watching a Nolan movie, they're all very gray. I know it's a Nolan movie. When I'm watching a Scorsese, it has that charm. The characters are kind of like, do you root for them? Do you not? I know it's a Scorsese. Spielberg movies have no style. They are very charming, but just because you bring sauce or charm to something doesn't give it style. Spielberg has made a horror, a drama, a romance, a musical, an adventure, a dinosaur movie, a shark movie, a historical movie about World War II with Schindler's List, like you just mentioned. The guy has made it all, literally made it all, everything. So I think to an extent, and again, you could disagree with me, that's fine. I actually think you kind of proved your own point wrong there. But listen, let's keep these rolling. Speedrunner guy, shout out to my man right here. Always talking in the Discord. F1 is the best film of the year easily. Listen, if you didn't say easily, right? Or like just easy, I'd be like okay with this take. Easily, I think is kind of crazy. And I loved this movie. This movie I gave 4 stars on my first watch. I could see myself giving it 4.5 on my second watch. I loved this movie. You want to talk about pure adrenaline and energy, good characters, and I think that the best way I could compliment this movie is that it feels like a 2010s film. Like it has like that good energy of like just a classic summer blockbuster, but that's actually good. It's not like dumb good or dumb fun. I think it's a pretty smart movie, and I think it was just great. So I think if you think it's the best film of the year, I could see why. It's top 5 for me for sure. So I'm right there. This is where I start to get a bit iffy because again, I could understand why. I can understand why, but it's one of these things where I think Superman. It's all up to preference. It's all up to preference because I think both of these are great. I could see someone saying, "Oh well, I think F1 is structured better and it's just better made, like CGI, whatever." Fine, but Superman just has the sauce, man, and so does F1. I think the score is awesome and it was just great. I couldn't agree more. War of the Worlds is the new best movie ever. I think I have to agree. I think I have to agree. My man John is saying, I don't think the new DC format and connectivity between projects is going to be as good as Marvel back in the Infinity Saga. See, it's tough to say because we technically don't know their format yet. And the only reason I say that is because while James Gunn has announced future projects, it's not like he's gotten up on a stage and said, "Hey guys, this is phase 1." And he has, right? He announced those projects in that video a while back, but that was 2.5 years ago, and we are only 2 projects into the DCU. We're kind of in this weird space where there isn't really a clear direction or really a clear idea of what James is doing. And I'm sure he knows what he's doing, and Peter Safran and all the other creatives, but we as fans don't. And I kind of like that we're out of the loop a little bit. I'm going to be honest. Like, I know that might sound a little bit crazy, but I think the MCU, obviously, since they were the first ones to do it, they had the ability to make a Thor movie, Hulk movie, Iron Man movie, Captain America movie, and then bring them all together in the Avengers. If the DCU did that, people would say, "Oh man, you're just copying the MCU. What are you doing? You're copying the MCU." So I like the idea that they're trying to reinvent themselves and kind of bouncing around. It's like, hey, we're going to kick off our universe with the safest possible project, Superman. That makes sense, right? But then we're going to do Supergirl. Then we're going to do Clayface. Then maybe we'll do Batman down the line. Like, I like that. I actually really like that. I'm a fan of that type of style. And also the fact that James Gunn said it's going to be a bit more like Star Wars rather than the MCU, where we're going in order. There is a timeline, but rather than just going in one direction, and sure, the MCU, they had Captain Marvel, which went back in time, but that was one film. I mean, let's be serious here. Besides that, I like the fact that, hey, there is going to be a timeline. Events are going to be taking place in order, but the way that we're shown that timeline is kind of bouncing back and forth. I'd love for us to get 2 projects in a row that push this universe forward, then one that's a flashback to World War II with Sergeant Rock. And then we go back to Wonder Woman, then we do Batman, then we go back 200 years to Wonder Woman's island. What is it? Themyscira, with that show that they said they were going to put out. I like that. I really like that. And I like going back and forth. I think it's pretty cool. As long as you just don't get stuck in that same, what's it called? As long as you just don't get stuck within that like little time period there, I think you're going to be fine. Next up, horrible take right here from my man Neil. La La Land is extremely overrated in my opinion. It was generic and bland, but the colors were amazing. Okay, I didn't read the full sentence. The second that you said generic and bland, I was about to scream and say, I think La La Land, and I will say this straight up, is the most beautiful film ever made from a visual standpoint. You said, but the colors were amazing. You really saved yourself there. I don't know how it's generic when I think it's truly like a once a decade type of movie that cannot be recaptured, where it's everything that Hollywood is. It represents the beauty of Hollywood filmmaking, and I don't mean to sound like corny or anything, but, like, genuinely, when you think of Los Angeles and Hollywood and the silver screen, that's what I think of when I think of La La Land, and I think Damien Chazelle specifically does such a great job of selling that idea realistically, like, that's just how I feel, like, I think it's something about Chazelle where he just he's just such a master at his craft, and I just watched Babylon for the first time. Wasn't the biggest fan of it, we could talk about it in a little bit, but it's not really that, it was more that I was just thinking about it, but again, getting back to this topic, I cannot see how it was overrated. I think, like, and I'll just stand on these opinions. I think that Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone do have the greatest on-screen chemistry I've ever seen, romantically, I guess you could say. Maybe there's been a better relationship like Friends or whatever, but seriously, I've never seen better romantic chemistry. And I think it's just one of these things where I just can't believe like what I'm watching every time I revisit the film. It's beautiful. Do you like Norin Rad's Silver Surfer or Shala Ball's Silver Surfer better? I think that from a look standpoint, from a visual standpoint, I go with Shalabal. From a character standpoint, I sort of lean Shalabal. I think that something about Nora and Rad, though, in that 2007 film, even though I think that movie's bad, honestly, I hate to be this guy, right? But he just has aura. Like it's as simple as that. Like the way he just stands there. And I think Shalabal, like I love Julia Garner. By the way, shout out to her because what a month between Weapons and also Fantastic Four, or like 2 weeks practically. But it's just one of these things where I'm amazed, man. Like, I really am amazed by, like, the way that CGI has advanced, but I'm gonna lean Shalabal. Crazy take. I know this is talking about Fantastic Four, I'm sorry. I refuse to argue about Fantastic Four again. We actually never really have, though. I mean, now that you guys really have me here, we could talk about it all day. I hope that you're not talking about Damien Chazelle here because I literally cannot disagree more. What's the worst movie you've ever seen? I wanna say War of the Worlds, but when it comes to the most offensive movie I've ever seen, I could say Happy Gilmore 2. Truly bottom of the barrel garbage is what Happy Gilmore 2 is, like, I'm not even joking when I say that. Truly, truly some awful garbage. By the way, if you guys see me looking off to the side here, I'm just looking at the chat, but yeah, Happy Gilmore 2 is up there, and I don't care what anybody says, like, I'm sorry, it's just my opinion, I guess, but literally one of the worst I've ever seen. Fan Four Stick, Spawn, which is such a random pull, but yeah, those are some of the worst I've ever seen. I'm probably forgetting some other ones too, but yeah. Yeah, have you seen any recent theories on weapons? I've seen this theory that's very straightforward, but it's just the idea that people can be weaponized, like people can be manipulated and sort of played with, I guess you could say, to do bad things for others, you could say. I don't really want to go too deeply into spoilers, but I think like that's like the meaning of the movie. But he also doesn't take risks, and they're safe, but it's fine. I think you're talking about Spielberg. I completely disagree because every time you go to a new genre, you're taking a risk instantly, especially when you've been making movies for like 50 years, literally. I'm now fully with James Gunn. I think this new universe will be way better than the MCU. See, this is tough to say because it's one of these things where we're one project in, it's so easy to overreact. But it feels like one of these things where the DCU has an advantage, and the advantage is, hey, we literally have a multi-billion-dollar franchise to learn from that already made mistakes, and now we just have to not make those mistakes again. So, like the groundwork is there, and James Gunn, it seems like he's very prepared, which I feel like is very important. But I can see why you'll say this, but only time will tell. We're literally not going to know if this is true for at least 5 or 6 more years, and that's like bare minimum. It's going to need a decade. It's going to need a decade. Biggest hot take. One that I'm gonna rip off right now that I've been thinking about because we've been talking about it in the Discord. If you guys aren't already in the Discord, go join it. It's in the description of any of what's it called? Any of my videos. I think that Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie. And I kind of say that unapologetically because I watched the film and I just can't help myself but think this is one of the greatest science fiction films of this century. And I'm not joking when I say that. Like Gareth Edwards, he's kind of like this lightning in a bottle director where I feel like I've been waiting for him to just like recapture the magic of Rogue One because I don't think that the first Godzilla movie he did was that great, even though that was before Rogue One. Then he does Rogue One. I think it's phenomenal. The creator, I don't think was that good. What else did he just put out that wasn't even that good? I'm forgetting. Oh, he did Jurassic World. What am I talking about? Not good at all. It's one of these things where I think he'll never be able to recapture that magic. And it's funny because it's a movie without even lightsabers, but I think it just does so much respect to the Force. It's such an interesting, beautiful looking film, and I think the characters are just so great. And I know it's a hot take, but I just love it. And listen, let's keep firing off comments and questions because I need more. I need some hot takes. I need something here, guys. I need something. My man Neil is doing a lot of carrying here. La La Land was so peak, it won biggest Oscar for 3.4 minutes. Yeah, that Moonlight incident was pretty rough, man. I cannot believe that. I mean, you're talking about like the most prestigious stage, you could say, in all of Hollywood and all in the movie industry. Because I look at something if there's like an incident, like a sporting event, it's like, okay, whatever. But this is supposed to be a professional, prestigious event. Obviously, there's jokes in there, right? But something like that is not funny, man. Thinking you won Best Picture and then after like a minute or two, they tell you didn't. That's horrible. That's horrible. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Top 3 most anticipated comic book projects of next year, movie or series. I'm going to say this. There's no way any series are going to be on this list. Like, I'm sorry. Unless I'm blanking. Oh, maybe Lanterns, but we'll get to this in a second. My top 3 in no order. Supergirl's on there. Like, I think Supergirl easily earns a spot because this is one of these things where you guys may make fun of me, but I don't know how it's even unfair to think like this is a bad take. I think Supergirl might be my most anticipated comic book film of next year, over Spider-Man 4 and over Doomsday. I look at the MCU, which has literally been doing nothing but declining for 5 years, and sure, I understand the idea that like yeah, Fantastic Four was okay, I guess. I think I don't know. Again, I don't think it was that great. I think Thunderbolts was like one great movie that they just kind of happened to capture the magic for. But Brave New World was so bad. And I get that Daniel Destin Cretton is going to be directing Spider-Man 4. I'm just not a big fan of Tom Holland Spider-Man. And I might just be lying to myself. Like, realistically, Brand New Day is probably going to be number 1. But Supergirl, Brand New Day, Doomsday. Those are my top 3. It's hard for me to get excited for Doomsday because it has a good chance to be a brutally messy film. And I think more likely than not, it will be a brutally messy film. I'm going to be honest. Yo, shout out to Kira right here with this comment. Honestly, guys, join the Discord. You guys should definitely join the Discord if you guys are interested. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone in TASM 2 has better chemistry than Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone in La La Land. I disagree. I think that sometimes people get improv mixed up with chemistry because it's very clear that Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, and Damien Chazelle are like a triangle working together to come up with dialogue while also improvising. So they're like sticking to the script, but they're just playing off of each other. TASM 2, I think sometimes gets just a bit too playful, where like Andrew Garfield is just like stuttering to Emma Stone, and I love them together. And I agree that their chemistry is amazing. Amazing Spider-Man, get it? But in all seriousness, it's just one of these things where I don't think it's better. Because sometimes, again, Andrew Garfield's kind of just stuttering to Emma Stone. He's like, haha, yeah. And it's like awkward. I don't know. And like, I love Emma Stone, but it's just one of these things where I'm like, I don't know. See, at least we could agree here. Thank you for the good take. But what are your top 3 romances? That's going to be pretty tough. Number 1 is La La Land for sure. And then when I think about romance, I feel like I'm blanking right now, right off the top of my head, because I'm not a big romance guy. A bit of a random fun answer. You know what? Two random fun answers. Anyone But You, I just love. It's like a dumb, fun movie with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. Great chemistry. It's funny. It's like, honestly, it's a vibes movie. It's like a summer vacation type of movie because they're going to like Australia or whatever. It's great. And another one, even though this was more focused on comedy than romance, there's going to be no hard feelings. I think Jennifer Lawrence is just so funny. And again, it's one of these things where it's more comedy than romance. I'm just trying to think of other like great romances. But yeah, those are going to be my top 3 for right now. Mine are Best Years of Our Lives, Call Me by Your Name. See, Call Me by Your Name might be up there. I think that's phenomenal. Moonlight. Now, Moonlight isn't really romance. It's more of like a character study, if anything, even though there is romance in there. But I actually haven't heard of Best Years of Our Lives. So I have to check that out. Casablanca, I've never seen. I definitely have to check that out. I have not seen the Star Wars Holiday Special. I know that it's infamous. So it's kind of one of these things where I'm like, why would I even really check it out? Maybe one day I will, though. What are you more excited for, the new Spider-Man movie or Doomsday? I'd have to say the new Spider-Man movie, just based off the fact, and this is like just how things kind of go, that we know more about it. And I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, right? Don't get it twisted. But also, me being a huge Spider-Man fan doesn't mean that I have to be excited for the movie if I don't think it's going to be good. I'm kind of like 50-50 right now, tossing and turning, like, is this movie going to end up being too messy or not? I just don't trust the MCU right now. So I'll say I'm more excited for Spider-Man. Doomsday, I have little to no faith in at this point, and I don't mean to sound like that, okay? I just feel like there's such a high chance that it's going to be really messy and like 3 out of 5, honestly. But guys, keep dropping hot takes. Guys, you know what? That's what I'm going to say right now. Give me your hot take. Give me your hot takes right now. Give me hot movie takes. Hopefully something I'll be able to like answer. If it's like some super niche thing, no problem. But give me some hot takes for sure. I think that's kind of like what I'm in the mood for here. Will you watch K-pop Demon Hunters? Honestly, I'm pretty interested in watching it. It might be one of these movies where I just end up watching in August and September and October, because you guys have to understand, man. I don't want to say like as a movie YouTuber, okay? Because that makes it sound like I'm super popular, but I've been doing so much homework from a movie standpoint the past 3 months that my brain is fried. And now that Weapons is done, like, I feel like I'm free. Because before Superman, I had to watch Superman movies. Before Fantastic Four, I had to watch every Fantastic Four movie. Before Mission Impossible, I had to watch every Mission Impossible movie. I had to watch every Final Destination movie. I've been having to watch so many movies as homework. You guys have no idea. It's been brutal, like genuinely brutal. And I love movies, but I haven't had that freedom to just like watch, whatever I want to watch. And I now have that free time. August, I really want to watch some films from like the 60s, the 50s, the 70s. Really want to watch Singing in the Rain. I've been dying to watch it, especially after I watched Babylon. So now that I have that free time movie-wise, I probably will end up checking this one out. Hot take. Star Wars only has 2 great movies. Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One, and the rest are just all right or straight up bad. Let me process that. Only 2 great movies, Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One. The rest are all right or straight up bad. I think that Star Wars is a very overrated franchise. I'm going to say that right here, right now. I think that a lot of the movies are honestly very overrated. With that being said, I think that at the minimum, there's like 3 or 4 great Star Wars movies at the minimum. Even if you just said 3, I'd be like, okay, I understand. But I think 2 is dragging it. I respect that you said Rogue One, though. Highly respect that you just said Rogue One. I'm actually very behind in the chat right now, though, so we got to speed ahead. But I somewhat respect this take, honestly, even though it might sound kind of crazy and disrespectful. I love Rogue One. You guys just can't handle the truth, man. Which one is going to make more money, Dune 3 or Avengers Doomsday? Avengers Doomsday, no question. And I think it's going to be closer than people realize. Like, not that it's really going to be that close, right? But Fantastic Four, good God. That movie really underperformed. Like, severely underperformed. Not brutally. Not like it's going to lose $1 billion. But at the same time, it completely underperformed. And I think that I could see that kind of carrying on. Everybody trying to pick between Team Iron Man and Team Captain America. Well, I'm over here on Team Revengers. Is Revengers the Thunderbolts, or am I just bugging? Is Revengers the Thunderbolts? But honestly, That's how I feel. That's honestly how I feel because I absolutely love that Thunderbolts team. Who do you think's the best rising director? Me personally, Robert Eggers. I'm gonna go ahead and just say Zach Kreger right now. I loved Barbarian. I loved Weapons. Keep them coming. And I like the fact that he's kind of on this hot streak where it feels like he knows where he's going from here. Like his next project's going to be the Resident Evil movie. And then he's like, I have an idea for a DC movie. I have an idea for this. And it feels like he's just very passionate and excited about making movies. I would say Damien Chazelle, but he's only been around for like 11 years or so. But yeah, just absolutely, I have to go with Zach Kreger right off the top of my head. Amazing stutter, man. Listen, I love Andrew Garfield and I love his Spider-Man. He might be my favorite Spider-Man, but I do think it just gets a bit awkward at times, and I do like it, but I'm just saying you can't compare it to what's it called? You can't compare it to La La Land, okay? Not really a hot take, but I think the best part of the MCU Thor franchise has never been Thor. That's an interesting take. I've never heard that before. I think the best part of the MCU Thor franchise has never been Thor. I don't fully disagree with you on that because I look at Loki, an incredible villain who's a part of the Thor franchise. I look at the Shakespearean elements of the first couple of films, like those first two. I think that's arguably like the greatest part. Then I look at Ragnarok. You've got Hulk, you've got the world building, the humor, you could even say. Love and Thunder. You could say Gore is the best part of that. So I understand what you're saying. I think Thor is actually better in like Avengers movies. So I actually think I kind of agree with you on that actually. That's a really good take. I actually really like that. And I've also never heard of that before. You said you wanted hot takes, so Karate Kid Legends over Sinners. I'm so sorry. Yeah, thank you for apologizing. They are really close though. Both are 3.5 out of 5 for me. Karate Kid Legends is less than 3 times as good as Sinners for me. I have Karate Kid Legends at a 3.5. Or not at a 1.5. And I have Sinners at a 5 star. So if I got Karate Kid Legends and I said, hey, let's make it 3 times as good as it is, it would still not be as good as Sinners based on the rating system, okay? Just it's just one of these things where I just literally can in no way could comprehend how a human being could think like that. And listen, it's no disrespect, right? Because Karate Kid Legends, it was a little bit fun. I'll admit it, even though I think it was really bad. But Sinners is out of this world, honestly. My man Slice Dude forgot about the stream. Oh my god. Favorite reality TV show and how should Doomsday open? Okay, first of all, favorite reality TV show? I'm trying to think of some examples, but I will say I like My Strange Addiction. Does that count? Is that like a, you ever see that? Like the people like living crazy lives or whatever. And then how should Doomsday open? It needs to open with Doom. It has to open with Doom. I don't know how else this movie would open. It needs to open with Doom. Let's just put it that way. Either brutally murdering somebody or just showing up somewhere. It has to. What's your pitch for a Sinners continuation? See, I would not want this to happen, but maybe if we pick up with, I forgot if it's Smoke or Stack at the end, in the 90s, and kind of it's like, okay, we did a timepiece in like the 40s or whatever that, no, or the 30s. Now we pick up in like the 90s. So it's still like a timepiece because it's not like the 20s, but it's one of these things where it's kind of like a different era in a way. Top 3 favorite horror movies. Banger question because of the fact that I don't really know because I'm not a big horror guy. But if I had to give it to you off the top of my head, Scream, the first Scream movie for sure. That is my favorite horror movie, I would say. From there, I might say Scream 2. I love Scream 2. Love the college atmosphere. I think it's severely underrated. And then, unless I'm forgetting something, I think that I'm gonna go with either the 2018 Halloween movie. Maybe that's a hot take. I'm just trying to think of other horror movies, but I'm just again not really a big horror guy. Really love the other. I could practically say Scream 6 as well. Like I love all the Scream movies, my favorite horror franchise. But yeah, I think there's just so many great horror movies out there. I'm gonna try to speed through a couple of these questions though. Rogue One is all right, in my opinion, 6 out of 10. See, I think it's like at least a 7, man. At least a 7. And people always say the first half is bad, but I think it's just great. Hot take, Sinners has little to no rewatchability coming from someone who loved it on first watch. See, I couldn't disagree with you more because I've seen it 3 times. So I don't know how I don't know how someone could say that personally. Mission Impossible movies are bland and fine. Best one though was Dead Reckoning. Man, I agree with you on the second half. I think Dead Reckoning is actually the best one, not Final Reckoning. Not Final Reckoning. I actually was pretty severely disappointed by Final Reckoning, but Dead Reckoning, I actually agree, is the best one. I don't think they're bland. Like, I understand they're maybe a bit like straightforward. Well, no, I think they do get very complicated actually with their plots, but I think that more just from, I guess you could say, a what's it called? A visual standpoint, if you will, maybe a sauce level. They're a bit bland, but I think they do their job to the best of their ability, and they're awesome for that reason. Ant-Man over Superman, next question. Like, I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. Like this is a joke. I'm sorry, John. I can't. Singing in the Rain's a top 30 favorite film for me. Yeah, man. I gotta check it out at some point. I really gotta get around to it. Sinners needs no continuation. I 110% agree. Could not agree more. We don't need a sequel to everything. Please, like literally, please. Like, we're in this era where it just feels so bleak for the future, and I just don't want to see anything. Do you want Secret Wars to go all out in multiversal stuff or no? Okay, so this is going to go against everything I've said on my entire channel since its inception, or conception, I should say, not the Christopher Nolan movie. Yes, like at this point, you've already done so much with No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness. Go crazy, man. Just do whatever you want, but then stop. Okay? It's like I don't know, you're gonna quit smoking cigarettes, and I'm like, listen, man, just smoke 10, smoke a whole pack, and then you're done. Okay, go crazy. Just just go absolutely insane. But then we're cutting you off. Okay? Because at this point, I think it would almost be like half-assing it if you don't go all out. So I think that's the only way to go about it. My answer, for the romance and chemistry is, yeah, the Before trilogy with Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. I forgot how to say her name. I haven't seen the Before trilogy, but I've heard it's very good. Ethan Hawke, very good actor. I'm not very familiar with Julie necessarily, but yeah, I think that I think like they're both great. Or at least Ethan Hawke is great. So from what I've seen, shout out to Alec right here. Jenna Ortega is a good actor who always finds herself in bad movies. I just don't understand how this happens. Like, I know you read a script, right, and you're like, okay, maybe this could be good. But at a certain point, how many misses in a row are you gonna have until I start questioning you? Like you. Like, I understand it's like your agent or whatever, but what are we doing, man? Jenna Ortega has been in Wednesday, which I guess was a hit, but I don't want to be disrespectful, right? In my opinion, it's kind of like a kids show, Wednesday, right? It literally, like, people say Stranger Things is the kids show, even though it's obviously not, because there's like brutal deaths and stuff. But then there's something like Wednesday where I'm like, that's a children's show, pretty much. And then you've got Scream 5 and 6. I really like Scream 6 especially. I don't really love Scream 5, but it doesn't matter. And then she's in all these other really horrible projects, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm just saying. Just saying. Any Detective Pikachu 2 updates, I wish. I really wish, but unfortunately not. Guys, I'm going to need more questions and more hot takes in here. Also, I'm going to be talking to myself over here. I'm assuming this is referring to my Sinners reaction, man. I think that's just not true, man. Black Panther is so overrated. It's good, but not great. I've been back and forth between whether Black Panther, the first one, is a 3.5 or a 4 out of 5. I've settled on a 4 out of 5 because I do think it is a great film, but I will never raise it from a 4 out of 5 ever. I will never raise it from a 4 out of 5. If anything, I'll lower it over time. I think that third act, and not just the third act, like the third act of the third act is so bad. And that CGI, and I don't want to just harp on there's bad CGI moments, right? Like seconds in movies where like there's 1 second literally counting like one that looks rough. But this is like 4 or 5 straight minutes of like 2002 PlayStation looking CGI. Horrible stuff. Black Panther and Superman are the most overrated comic book films of all time. I think first of all, you automatically have to remove Superman because one of these movies is 7 years old and it's had time to like be within like, the zeitgeist, whatever you could. Sorry, guys, had a bit of an interruption there. My heart literally just jumped because I thought my house was getting robbed. But at the same time, I think this is just one of these things where you've got something like Black Panther that's been around for like 7 years, and then Superman that's literally been around for 1 month. I think it's just unfair to say that it's overrated, especially because like it's getting praised, right? It's beloved, but it's not like it's getting the most praise. Like I don't see anyone saying Superman's the greatest comic book film of all time, or it's even really top five necessarily. So I can't really agree with that. Out of the four Avengers movies, which has the best opening scene? I look at the first Avengers movie, right? And we've got I'm trying to think of how that opens. Oh, that opens with like Loki. I think that's pretty interesting. Age of Ultron's is very strong with like that winter forest battle. Then you've got Infinity War, which I think is pretty interesting with Thanos like entering the ship. And then Endgame has Clint like going around, I believe, and with like his family. But I feel like Age of Ultron's might be the best, honestly. Age of Ultron's might be the best. I think I'm gonna have to settle with that. About to finish One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I actually watched this in high school. I watched this in a high school class, and yeah, it's just I think it's just one of these like all-time like older films that are just really awesome. The Shining is my favorite horror movie. See, I've never actually seen The Shining, and it's one of these ones I have to get around to. I believe that's Kubrick, unless I'm wrong, right? Am I just making that up? I don't think I'm making that up, but have to get around to seeing The Shining. I think it's absolutely incredible. I bet it's incredible, I should say. And I think Jack Nicholson is just like an all-time actor. I love him in The Departed, and it's great. What's your favorite show on Netflix? Instantly Stranger Things. But if you're including Breaking Bad, maybe Breaking Bad would now honestly though, I think Stranger Things, especially because my hype is so high for season 5. I think it's just one of these things where I gotta put like the more modern thing just because it's so relevant right now. And I'm just so hyped over it. So yeah, it's gotta be Stranger Things. Squid Game season 1 is better than wait. Oh wait, sorry. Squid Game season 1 is a better season, but season 2 is a better cast. See, this is the only problem. I've only seen season 1, and then unfortunately, I gave up on Squid Game, man. By the way, guys, I need more questions in this chat, and I need more hot takes and thoughts because we're running out here. I'm almost at the end. I need you guys right now. I want to talk about Fantastic Four. I want to talk about Superman. I want to talk about everything, anything and everything, any movies, any shows. I haven't really seen that many shows, so probably more movies, but yeah, just want to throw that out there. But yeah, have not seen Squid Game really. So yeah, hot take. Thor Ragnarok has aged poorly for me. I don't blame you. I have this thing in my head where sometimes if I watch a film, right, and then something happens after the movie that doesn't really have to do with the movie, it changes my thoughts on it. I think a good example of this would be Thor Love and Thunder coming out, where quite honestly, it did rewire my brain in the way that I see Taika Waititi. So now when I go back to Thor Ragnarok, I'm kind of just like, I don't really know if this is really like funny anymore, honestly, or I don't think it's really like all that hilarious, or maybe it's just kind of cringe, but I still do really like Ragnarok. But yeah, yo, yo, shout out to you, man. Get those grades up, and have a good night. Have a good night. Shining is Kubrick. Perfect, perfect. Favorite actor and actress of all time. I'll do a top 3 here while I wait for more people to send in their thoughts because I need you guys right now. My favorite actress, just to make things a bit easy, my favorite actress is going to be Emma Stone. I think it's not just the films that she's in, but I think she's a generational talent. Like, I mean, I look at this like she's already won 2 Best Actress nominate awards. I actually have not seen Poor Things. I need to check it out, but I think Emma Stone is just like one of one, truly, especially when it comes to like in her field. Like, I don't think there's a better actress out right now. I think that she is kind of stuck in the Yorgos trap right now, where I wish she would expand and kind of stop working with Yorgos Lanthimos, even though I think he's probably like a pretty good director. I haven't really seen his stuff, but I want to see her do more. I want to see her maybe go back to Giselle or something like that. But it's gonna be Emma Stone. Runner up would be Jennifer Lawrence. I just think that's the opposite effect. Where even though I think she's a great actress, I think she's just very funny. I think she's great as Mystique, and I think her comedies are just great. And then I like her in Hunger Games. She's just in the movies that I like when it comes to Jennifer Lawrence. Like she's in that dystopian sci-fi franchise with Hunger Games. She's in the comic book genre with what's it called? X-Men. And then she's also in comedies. So I think that she kind of just has everything. And then when it comes to actor, I want to say Ryan Gosling. Currently, Ryan Gosling, I don't want to say he's falling off a bit for me, but I haven't loved his recent performances. Like, I feel like he peaked with La La Land, and he's been slowly kind of dwindling. And he has like this new, like, ironic thing that he's going for. Like Barbie, right? He was trying to be like this ironic, funny Ken, which made sense and worked. Then he kind of did it again in Fall Guy, and I was like, okay, that's fine. I think, and I really like Fall Guy. I think it was awesome. But then he tried to do it again, it seems like in Project Hail Mary, where it seems like he's still doing this like ironic thing where I talk like this. And I don't really know what it is. I wish he would just do like a normal drama movie again. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say Timothy Chalamet right now because again, that's probably not a hot take, but he's just on some run. I hope Galactus comes back. I don't, honestly. Maybe that's the Fantastic Four hater in me, if you will, but I don't. I think he was fine in the movie, and I think that that's about it. Who would win in a fight? The evil grandma from X or the evil grandma from The Visit? I've got to say The Visit because I think that she's like super powered. I've never seen that movie, but I've seen like clips from it. The evil grandma in X, first of all, I hate X. I think it sucks. I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't understand the hype behind that trilogy with Pearl and Maxine. I watched X and I didn't even want to watch the rest of them. I thought it was just so bad. But yeah, easily The Visit for sure. Will you be watching Pluribus? I'm not sure. Oh, this is the Frank Gilligan, I believe. Is that his name? Or Mike Gilligan? Well, or Vince Gilligan. I think it's Vince Gilligan, the guy who made Breaking Bad. Honestly, yes, I will be watching this show because this is the thing. I don't watch too many shows, but honestly, this is like a rare instance where I'm like, yeah, I'm instantly going to be watching that, especially it's made by Apple too. So yeah. Favorite film no one's heard of. My instant answer for this, and like it would be impossible for to find a movie that no one's heard of. But my favorite movie when it comes to the gap between how much I love the film and how many people I think have actually watched this film, it's going to be The Way, Way Back. And I've got to say this right now, before I say a word about this movie, this is the time to watch that film. It's a summertime film. You need to watch it in August. July or August, I'm going to be watching it very soon. I already like have it on my schedule practically every single year. It needs to be watched during the summer. I feel like it's the movie that I like relate to the most, especially like as I was growing up in like that early awkward teenager era. And I just think it's a phenomenal movie. It's a 5-star for me. So The Way, Way Back is going to be my answer with like Steve Carell and stuff. I just think it's phenomenal. No, you read the hot take wrong. It hasn't aged poorly for me. Oh, Ragnarok has not aged poorly for you. Okay, I understand why it wouldn't. I mean, I still do think it's pretty funny, so I think it's like a reasonable answer. My favorite actor is Jeff Goldblum, very funny guy, and my favorite actress is Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt, oh, that's someone I forgot. Emily Blunt is not my favorite actress, but she has been rapidly climbing up my list. I remember I watched Edge of Tomorrow like a year ago for the first time. She bumped up my list a little bit more. I watched her in, I mean, even just like Oppenheimer, The Fall Guy, I like rewatched, and I was like, wow, she's just so charming. I watched her in more stuff too recently. I'm trying to think of what else I watched her in, but she's great. Oh, I watched her in The Devil Wears Prada, which is a bit more like earlier into her career. Phenomenal. Like she's just awesome. She's funny. She has like this sweetness to her. I think she's really awesome. Ever seen the Macbeth movie? No, I have not, unfortunately, so I can't really speak on it. I want them to do Zombieland 3. Hey, if they're doing Now You See Me 2, they could do Zombieland 3, honestly. The only problem is I feel like everyone's a bit too big now, so it would be pretty tough to get that cast back together. Heard about the new Naked Gun film. It's with Liam Neeson. Yes, I have. I absolutely adored it. I loved it. I thought it was great. I don't get the chance to review every single movie on my channel, unfortunately, just because it's too time consuming, and honestly, I just don't want to sometimes. And also sometimes I see movies late. Like I saw Naked Gun on like the Sunday after it came out, and at that point nobody cares to see like a review on it, you know. So yeah, I loved it though. It's like my third or fourth favorite movie of the year. That's how much I loved it. Sacred Deer is the only Yorgos I liked. Chat. See, I feel like that's like his safest project, arguably, you could say. So I'd understand why you'd say that, but I definitely want to check them out. I know Loki dying at the beginning of Infinity War. Isn't it kind of insane that we just like know these acronyms? Like I see IW, I'm like Infinity War. Raised the stakes and was necessary, and it would have been great seeing him as an honorary Avenger. I 100% agree. I don't think there's any other way they could have done it. Loki was around for so long at that point, where I feel like he kind of did run his course, not in a bad way, but it's like, hey, we're done here. We're done. And I like that they kind of expanded his lifespan with the multiverse because now he went back in time or he went to the TVA and he did whatever. But I think that we kind of do have to wrap up the Loki thing kind of soon. Okay. Let's put it that way. Hot take. Tom Holland isn't a great actor. This is the thing. Tom Holland's been really good in the MCU movies. The make or break for me, and it's not like he has anything to prove to me, right? He's done great job as Spider-Man. He's beloved around the world. But for my own personal opinion, the make or break for me is not going to be Brand New Day. It's going to be the Odyssey. If he is great in the Odyssey, I will defend him forever. If he is clearly a standout weak link of the cast, I am forever going to be like, this guy is massively overrated. You could say what you want, but great directors pull great acting out of their actors because they are able to direct them. That's the whole point. They bring out their strengths and they avoid their weaknesses. They hide them. If he can't be great with Christopher Nolan, I don't know where he'll be great. And I'm not saying he's not great because I think he's very good actor. But at the same time, I just need to see a little bit more out of him. I really do. I thought Hot Summer Nights and A Rainy Day in New York are better than they were rated. See, these are two Timothée Chalamet films, for those of you that don't know, like earlier on. I know that one's like a Woody Allen film, I believe is his name. And then Hot Summer Nights I know is a bit like just like a random film, kind of like, I guess like an indie film. I don't really know. But Hot Summer Nights has been on my watch list for a while. I definitely need to check it out soon because I want to see like Chalamet also sort of like the evolution of his career. Like I've never seen him like that young, I guess you could say, in a movie, or it wasn't like 2019 actually, so maybe it was after Call Me by Your Name. I don't think so, but either way, I just want to watch like more early Chalamet just to kind of get an idea of like all of his work. But honestly, I'll check him out and maybe we'll see. Most unique movie you've ever seen? I want to say Megalopolis. I remember walking out of that theater like, wow, that movie was so bad, but also so interesting. And I didn't love it or hate it. I was just like, what did I just watch? But for both good and bad reasons, because it was so over the top, so out of this world that it almost like cannibalized itself, and it was so bad it was good. Talking about it makes me go like, what? I don't even know. But we'll ever watch it again? Who knows? But yeah, I think definitely Megalopolis. By the time you see this topic will have changed. Well, we're gonna go right back to it. But I agree with you on X. I think the trilogy as a whole is overrated. I gave Pearl 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. Yeah, I haven't seen Pearl. Shout out to David Corn Sweat, our Superman, of course. But yeah, I just have no interest. And I'm like, I don't really like horror movies, right? I don't go out of my way to watch them, but I will always watch them. Like I'll watch horror movies given the chance, like the opportunity. I think they're interesting, especially when they have an interesting premise, like Weapons, for example. That's a great example. But then I look at something like this trilogy. I watched X before Maxine because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go see Maxine in theaters. I watched X and it was so bad that I didn't watch Pearl and then I didn't go see Maxine in theaters and I didn't review it on my channel. I don't know. That's just how things are sometimes, man. It's just how things are. Great little topic there, though. This is an awesome question, and I'm so happy that this was asked to me because I've been thinking about this. You like Weapons or Together better? It's so easy for the whole world to just jump on Weapons because it's the hot new toy. It's the shiny new thing. But Together was really good. And maybe it's just because I've been in a relationship for a very long time. But it's one of these things where I was able to like pick up on so many things, not like that other people wouldn't realize, but relate to things because this couple is not a good couple in the movie, right? They're a bad couple. The guy is like treating this girl like he's like using her sort of, and she's trying like he does care about her or whatever, but it's just one of these things where I'm watching this and I'm like, wow, this is a great example of a real situation with a couple. And then you bring in like the interesting elements of them starting to like Their bodies starting to combine, like crazy stuff we're talking about here. But Weapons was also great. Eileen Weapons, they're both in my top 10. They're actually both in my top 7 or 6. And I have them next to each other. So I have Weapons like one spot above on my top 10. But I thought they were both great. And I think I need to like rewatch both. I'm not really a big horror rewatcher though, so it's a miracle enough if I already just watch a horror movie, okay? But so the rewatch one, that's gonna be a lot. Um, Placing the first Thor movie primarily in New Mexico is a huge mistake. It should have been in a nicer setting than the middle of nowhere. Listen, New Mexico seems pretty cool. Okay, I do like the desert. It reminds me of like Breaking Bad, obviously, because that's where it also takes place. But I actually kind of like it. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe that's a hot take. I like the way. First of all, I wish that the ice planet was just out of the way. If we were going just Asgard, New Mexico, that would have been kind of cool. But I'm not a big fan of all the frost giant stuff. I wish that we could it doesn't look good. The planet looks really bad, like just the setting or whatever. And I feel like they did a good job with New Mexico because it looks so different than Asgard. Like if you were in the middle of like, I don't know, just the US and like Kansas, it would have been like, a Superman story at that point. But yeah, I think it just would have been a bit different. But yeah. Are you gonna watch Megan 2.0? I don't know if you haven't yet. If it's listen, I don't mean to be like a lazy bum, right? But if it's on streaming, sure, maybe I'll check it out by the end of the year. But I feel like this is one of these movies where there's a lot of hype going into it. The week it released, I didn't hear a word about it. It came out, I didn't see like any reviews, and I'm chronically online. Okay, I'm just gonna be real, right? I'm on my phone all day. I'm watching YouTube reviews. I'm on my phone. Okay, I'm online. Haven't seen a damn thing about Megan 2.0, which is apparently a mega blockbuster. It's kind of crazy to me. I don't know what went on there. Top 5 comic book films. By the way, we're gonna kind of wrap things up here probably in like 10 or 15 minutes, but top 5 comic book films. This is an age-old, never-ending question. Obviously, the Batman is gonna be on there at number 1. At number 1 is gonna be the Batman. Next up is gonna be Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy, Winter Soldier, and that 5th spot, man. I wanna say Days of Future Past. I wanna say Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2, actually, yeah, I'm gonna go Spider-Man 2. I don't even know why I'm stalling here. Into the Spider-Verse, you could also say. There's so many options, man. It never ends, but yeah, those are, like, sort of like my loose picks. The first Guardians of the Galaxy movie I love. Comic book films for me. See, it's easier for me to, like, rate somebody else's. The Batman, cook. Spider-Man, cook. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, okay. Guardians of the Galaxy 1, awesome. Into the Spider-Verse, awesome. I really like this list. To me, this might sound crazy, right? But the weak link is Guardians 3, and I love Guardians 3. But I think that's the one where I'm like, But the other 4 I think are awesome. Unfortunately, I have not seen Squid Game season 2 and 3. I mean, I talk about this all the time on my channel. I know that most movie channels also watch shows. I am like this weird outlier where I pretty much just watch movies. I rarely watch shows. And I don't know why. I think like I just rather spend my time watching like shorter stories than like wasting months watching an 8-season show and then I could tell people, "Hey, I watched one show." Like why would I waste 6 weeks watching Game of Thrones just to tell people, "Hey, I've seen one show in 6 weeks." Like, I know that's not how it works, and I respect shows. I love shows too myself. I've watched Breaking Bad. I love Stranger Things, but I can't see myself just binging shows. I'd rather dedicate that time to watching like 40 movies. And I'm not joking when I say 40, obviously, because it's a lot of time. What are the best singers turned actors in your opinion? Instant thought is Ariana Grande. I thought she was phenomenal in Wicked. Like, first of all, she should have won Best Supporting Actress. It's just politics why she didn't win with Amelia Perez. I don't know what went on there. It was more of a legacy award for Zoe Saldana, but respect to her though. I really do love her. But Ariana Grande, I think for sure is like sort of getting hot right now. You could say where she's going to be in Wicked Part 2. She's going to be in Meet the Fockers Part 4, and I'm trying to think of other ones. There's one I'm kind of blanking on right now that I also really love, but again, just completely blanking right now, so I can't give you an answer. What are some underrated movies for you? I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is always overlooked. Honestly, I'd have to sort of disagree, like, not to put you down there. Like, I see why you think it's fun, but when I think of underrated, I'm gonna say this is a super random pick. I'm gonna say First Man, Damien Chazelle's third feature-length film. I think that the way it capitalizes or encapsulates the fear that you could have in space and how dangerous it is and how horrifying space truly is. I'm gonna say that's an underrated movie, even though like it's generally received positively, but I think people underrate it. The Odyssey looks mid so far. Why is it being hyped so much? I guess I don't know because I haven't seen any Christopher Nolan movies yet. I feel like that's hard to do. First of all, the Odyssey trailer is one of my favorite trailers this year, if not my favorite. And I'm honestly notoriously known by my friends as a Christopher Nolan hater. I think this trailer is phenomenal, and it doesn't show anything, but I think the music that plays in the background, it's so chilling, and it really gets you hyped to like, oh my god, what am I about to watch? And just knowing that this movie is gonna be crazy, yet we haven't seen anything crazy, and just John Bernthal and Tom Holland's performances in that 60-second, ad trailer, it really sold me. It really, really sold me. And also, if you want a reason why it's being hyped, it's because one of the greatest directors ever is making it. Have you seen Dexter? No, unfortunately, and I probably never will. I heard about this. There's a movie called Good Boy coming out October 3rd. By the way, this dog in this profile picture is very cute. I have to point that out because it looks like this dog is asking me these questions and it's kind of making me giggle a little bit. And I saw it at South by Southwest. It's a horror movie from the perspective of a dog. I'd recommend it when it comes out. Man, I definitely want to check it out. I saw the poster for it. Seems pretty cool. Speedrunner guy. Together hasn't released from yet. Oh, because you're in the UK. Is it worth cramming it in before Nobody 2 on Friday? Well, listen, bloke. I think that it is because I just think it's awesome, man. I just think it's awesome, man. It's as simple as that. I loved Together. I thought it was great. And I saw some people like poking like plot holes in it when I don't think they're plot holes. I think it's just awesome. 2026 will be a great year for movies. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been hearing this for like years, right? 2023 is gonna be a great year for movies. 2024 is gonna be a great year for movies. 2025. So, like, I see what you're saying, right? I think people said that about 2025, and I sort of disagree. I think it's tough to say. I don't want to be negative, right? But I just don't really know what's coming out. And I think the only way to really figure out if it's been a great year is the second it hits December 31st of the year. So like 2025 even, I think it's kind of tough. 2024 I think was disappointing, but yeah, either way though, I think like looking at it positively, I could see it being great. But just going to finish up these last couple questions here. The MCU will never perform like it used to in the box office, and all the changes in how people consume movies. Streaming has killed the movie theater business. I mean, not literally killed, but it's on life support, obviously. I think that um Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Brave New World, literally all underperformed, which is insane to think about. And it's crazy to me that the only way to get people to the theaters is a nostalgia bait, or if you have Spidey on the big screen. And quite honestly, the MCU is even lucky that Sony is giving them the rights to make a Spider-Man film. This next Avengers movie, I think, is going to scrape by 1 billion. And I know that's probably a hot take, right? I think it's going to scrape by 1 billion. I don't think it's going to hit 2 billion. Doctor Strange doesn't need a trilogy. It should have been one and done. I love Multiverse of Madness, and I'm sorry. I don't want to even apologize for it. So I kind of disagree. I personally don't like the concept of legacy awards in the Oscars. To me, it should be entirely dependent on the nominated performance. I literally could not agree more. Why do you think Jamie Lee Curtis won in 2022 instead of Stephanie Sue for Everything Everywhere All at Once? She did nothing in the movie. It's just because she's been acting for 50 years, which I respect. But hear me out. How about, and maybe, I don't know how many you'd give out. I don't know the logistics. How about you just give out a legacy award? And that's not disrespectful. It's not like a participation trophy where it's like, hey, you never won anything, so here's a legacy award. I think you could even give it to actors that have already won Oscars. Like, let's just say Leonardo DiCaprio, right? And every year you give out 10 legacy awards, 5 actors, 5 actresses. And it's not based on anything. it's kind of almost like a Hall of Fame thing where it's like if you have a legacy award, that's the only time you're going to win it. You get one and you have it forever, and then you're not going to win again, and just do that. But why are we letting legacy affect individual performances? Stephanie Sue's performance blew Jamie Lee Curtis's out of the water. Yet here we are, and it's cemented in history, and there's nothing we can do about it. So I think it's ridiculous. Yeah, First Man's awesome. Dexter is amazing. Yes. And we're getting some agreements here. And guys, I'm going to finish up right here with this. You mentioned Game of Thrones earlier. Have you seen it? I watched the first season, and then I never picked up on it. And I actually watched the first season of House of the Dragon, and I never continued it because I was kind of underwhelmed with well, wait, did the second season even come out? Yeah, the second season didn't come out. I know they're filming the third, but yeah, actually never picked up on it because I felt like the ending was a bit underwhelming, and I don't want to hear the excuse of, well, no, you don't understand. The next season is going to have the battle. I don't want to wait 2 years. Give me a satisfying conclusion. Sorry about that. But guys, that's going to just about wrap this live stream. Thank you guys so much. And listen, I hope everybody has a good night. Hope you guys have a good August, fall season, whenever. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next live stream. Thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate all the questions and talking movies and shows with you guys. But have a good night, guys, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.